Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chloe from Yoga Cree. I do handmade plushies and I'm based in Ireland. So in today's video I wanted to talk about market tips that I do have. This video is going to be extremely valuable to beginners but also to people who have been doing markets for a while who want to improve their sales. I believe this works and I believe in what I'm saying because I've applied it. I'm very big on appearances in the way of what looks nice to the eye to get people's attention and draw them in. I used to work with food for years and I was always interested in presentation of how things look and how to make them look nice. Is it perfect every time? Do I think it's perfect? No, obviously not. But these tips I've applied through selling things in my life and they've always worked. Now, to make it more specific, I am going to relate this to a stall. So I'm assuming you're watching this and you have a market stall, you're a vendor at some venue or whatever the case may be. If not, I'm sure you can still take some of these tips and actually apply them to what you do. Now, let's get straight into it. The first number one thing I think with anything that is extremely important is your pricing signs. Like when you go into a normal regular shop, there's price tags everywhere. You see them because, for one, you don't want to be wasting employees or workers' time with having to explain what price every single thing is. I know it's different when it's a larger scale thing, but just there's logic behind it, there's reasoning behind it, and you should have the same as well. Now, my advice around this is lower price items definitely have to have clear labeling signs. I'm going to put in a clip here just to show you what mine's like, and it should reflect your brand as well, I believe. So if your brand colors are green and purple, then your signs should be green and purple in some shape or form. I'm not going to go too technical with like businessy things of like you should have a font and all this. I am going to keep it specifically for markets, but you should have your own font and your coloring of your branding in your signs as well. What's the energy of your business? Is it fun and playful? Is it serious and elegant? Like, what is that energy? And carry that through in your pricings as well. Have confidence with your pricings. It doesn't have to be the tiniest little thing. You know, showcase it, show it. It's showing your brand. And also, what I've noticed is I find when you do have larger items, I put little tags on the back of those that are like one-offs or whatever, because if you have a price sign that, you know, something is €100 or whatever, initially that might kind of put people off in wanting to look at the rest of your items because they think, oh, that seems a lot or whatever. This also comes down to the placement of things in your boot. You know, you want to be intentional with where everything is. You're not going to want to put, let's say, your most priciest items on the bottom where kids can grab them and their parents can be like, no. Does that make sense? I'll go more into that shortly anyway, but your pricing signs need to be so clear and very easy to read, very like in my face, that it's sitting right there. I don't have to bend, lean or whatever. You have to think like a customer. When I'm a customer, I want to go in. I don't want to have to ask somebody how much something is or is this clear or whatever. Make it very easy. Make it easy for the person to see and understand. Don't make them have to lean, like I said, or do guesswork. Make it very, very clear. I think that's all I have to say on the pricing signs. So I'll leave it at that. But if anything else comes up, I'll insert it. One last thing I wanted to add is when people put all the prices on one board, especially when it comes to something that is not food related, like they're all separate items spread out across the table or across the booth. Personally, I don't like it. I find it annoying to look at because everything is all cluttered in one and I'm trying to figure out what price relates to what. So if you're selling anything but food items or drink items, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would label everything separately. If you have a booth or like a tent or a pop-up or anything like that, it's important to let people into it, okay? Especially depending on the country you're in. So this can kind of go for sunny weather or rainy weather to give people shelter. Some people would say otherwise, that, oh no, people don't want to go in. You know, people prefer to not have to go in. But I think when you have, you know, your stall, your 3x3 setup or whatever, where it's like a tent, when you do that, you feel it becomes more intimate. It allows people into your space and into that, you know, environment and kind of gives them a chance to stay longer. Also, if again it's sunny in your country, it gives people shelter. They might want to hang out in there for a few minutes, more chance of more sales. Same if it's raining as well. It'll give people a chance to come in and maybe buy something. I've had that happen a few times because every outdoor big event I do, it rains. It's more likely to kind of give you more sales that way because they'll feel like I have to buy something. Not that they have to, but you know, a lot of them will, just to say thanks, or they'll spend more time looking and then they'll think, oh, that's actually cute, I want that, or whatever. Okay, so I find allowing people into the space, you kind of catch them like a Venus flytrap. Yeah, you don't have to be pushy or salesy. They just look, they see, and that's that. Some people don't let people in. They have their tables pushed to like the edge. I find doing it that way, people can skim past your stuff faster. There's not enough to make them stop and draw them in. Like I said a while ago, bringing people in makes them feel like they're more in a different space. You can also do that with music. Play music that's the vibe of your brand as well. Yeah, because I find even the stalls where everything is placed to the edge of the boot, I'll just skim. You know, I won't intentionally look more. I'll just quickly walk past. I'll slow down my walking just so I can look and watch. But that's it. They didn't draw me in. So I think, personally, having your stuff in brings people in. You need to draw people in with your stuff, like with your branding, your colouring, the setup, the display. Like, people are very visual. They eat with their eyes. Like, you know, it's the same in any aspect. Things draw people in because of their senses. So you can catch them by smell. If you sell candles, you know, if you sell music, play music, or, you know, what you get what I'm saying. Like, try and catch them by their senses. So visually is one of the easiest, I think, because they're literally looking at it. So having your colours and, you know, things to catch people's attention, like, it will draw people in. Think about it. You could have a setup, right? Have your tent completely black and have one little table in the centre with one thing on the table. I know me personally, I'm going to want to go see what that is because I can't see it from back at a distance. I'm going to want to go in and look at it, you know. So think like that. Just a curiosity is how you can get people's attention as well. And that's the thing. When it comes to selling at markets, you need to grab people's attention. You want their eyes on you. And people might be like, oh, it's attention seeking. Oh, you have to just get a grip. Like, this is what you have to do in business. You need all eyes on you if you want to make sales. So think about, how can I catch people's attention? What can I do? You can do, I don't know, some sort of display on the outside, take a picture with this, whatever. You can be as attention seeking as you can. That's not interfering with other people, by the way, but that draws people in, like I said. That brings me on to my next point, actually. What I was saying about slowly walking past and seeing everyone's stuff. Don't have your table too sparse and empty, and because, like, my partner prefers that look when I do my table where there's less on it and more spread out. But what that allows is for people to just continue walking by because they can see everything all in one, you know, stroll across. Whereas if you do have stuff more compact or more to look at or more busy, I'm not saying cluttered, but a lot busier, they'll have to stop because they need to look at everything and you have more chance of making a sale or whatever. I'm going to pop a picture here of one I did that I absolutely loved, whereas he thought was way too much. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think that is too much? It's one I did before. I'd love to know, do you think this is too much or is it okay? But yeah, I found on that day, nearly everybody did stop to look at what was on the table because there was so much on it. My next tip is to add height to your display. This is something I didn't do a whole lot before. I had different like shelving bits, which is good for what I sell because, again, I'm attracting in smaller people, kids, but I want to cater to adults as well. So I do put my more adult themed bits, or, you know, like my crochet hooks, my animals that are for the rear view mirror in the car, bits like that. I tend to put them higher because they're more directed at adults. But it is important to have height in your display because, again, drawing attention, you're attracting attention. You don't want your table to be confined to a flat table. Like, personally, I don't think that looks attractive as a customer. So adding height will draw in more attention and get more eyes on you, and it gives you more room to display as well. There's all different ways you can do it. You know, do your research into it. I'm sure you'll find something that works for you. Again, continue with your branding in that. My branding and style at the start was a lot of natural woods, rusticy with a slight bit of pink. So it was golds, natural materials like jute, walnut, and then more of a light beech wood as well. That was kind of my vibe, whereas I've completely stripped all of that back. Slight bit of gold, different shades of pink, slightest bit of light wood, and that's it. That's my branding, my colours. So I refined it a lot and it's working for me. So make sure you pay attention to what you're using, that you're not using multiple, all different types of like plastic this, wood that, all different colours, black, purple, whatever, unless they are your colours. It's important to follow through with your colouring in your display. You might do different coloured woods and just that, and it might work, and that's fine if it works for you, but carrying the vibe of your brand through everything is important. Table cover. This needs to match your brand also. I find with table covers as well, when you see bags sticking out underneath and everything, I don't think it looks good. It's happened to me a few times. I try my best to avoid it. It's not always possible, but having the loose table cover is good to hide that. But if you're outdoors, there's wind and it'll lift it and you'll still see under there anyway. So I've went with spandex ones, and they're more of a fitted one. And again, following through with my branding colours, it's really important. You're showcasing you in your brand as well. So, you know, with what you wear at the markets, it's important to dress as your brand. That's another tip, to dress as your brand, show up as your brand. Like, who are you? Why is this your brand? What are you all about? And to try and show up as that as much as you can. It's not going to be possible every time unless you go getting, you know, logo tops and all of that kind of thing, but try and show you through your brand so that it comes easier to you. Make sure that your stands and that your display enhance your work, showcase your work nicely and not take away or distract from it. Example, I had a keychain stand. I found since I got rid of that, I still have it but I don't use it in my display at the moment. Since I've let go of that and put on my keychains and baskets, they sell better, because I think the stand was taking a lot of the attention of like, look at this, and I made the cheapest item the focus of my work, which was very silly to do, because you don't want that to be the case, so that people will only buy keychains, the smaller, lower priced items. So make sure that your displays are not taking the attention away from your overall products. Example, if you sell pink products only and all of your stuff is pink, it's taken away. You can't see the products. You need to let the products stand out. So there was a brand that I seen at Dogitude. If I have the clip, I'll pop it in here. They were selling dog items, and funnily enough, their branding was black and white, and it was very minimal, and everything was black and white. When you look into their tent, because everything was so neutral, their dog collars and harnesses and all that like completely stole the show, which is the product, which is what they were wanting to sell. So they did that really, really well. If you know your items are going to be multicolored, then pick a color to go with and try and carry that through everything. You might have to invest, and like that's the case with anything in business, you're going to have to invest in stuff, so be willing to do that. There's no point in like picking colors of your display units for the sake of, oh, it's just easier to do it this way. If it's not in your branding, it goes against, and it'll show, like people will see that it's kind of like, oh, they got that for the sake of it or whatever. So it's important to try and follow through with as much as you can, true to your brand and true to you. So just making sure your display stands are cohesive, that they work together, that it's not like all jumbled and doesn't make sense, and that it's not dodgy and going to fall over as well. That's really important, to make sure there's sturdiness to it. So if you need to paint things, you paint them. If you need to sand things down and stain them another colour, do what you need to do. Just make sure that your display stands are somewhat cohesive and they work together. That's the main thing. I find with displays that the more consistent something is, the better it looks. So if you're going to do, let's say, stands with different shelves on it, and I'm criticising myself here because mine are all different, because I had got them at the start all different and bought them in different stages for different things, so I didn't think it through properly. So if you're at the stage of buying those, make sure you wait until after this video so that you can make sure you get ones that all work together. You need to make sure that, like I said, they're all the same type, the exact same one, because it'll just look a million times better. Next tip is baskets. People love baskets. They love rummaging through baskets, especially with the keychains. Like the difference in when I took them off the stand and put them into the baskets, they started flying out. People love to like discover. And what you're also doing by rummaging through baskets is they're taking the product in their hand. They're not just looking at it, they already are feeling it. And so it's a second stage of commitment to making a purchase. So baskets are really good. Another one that I have used, I don't use it a whole lot because I don't have a whole lot to put into it, is Oopsie Basket. So I take projects that I've done that maybe have a mistake on them. They're either marked or burnt, or there's something wrong with it, and it's clearly shown that there's something wrong with it, and I put them at a reduced price again in a basket. People love rummaging through them. The first time I did it, I think one whole basket sold, and like the stuff that was in it, I wouldn't buy it. Like, it was, to me, rubbish. Like, some things were better made that some would be like, what, you're crazy, that's not rubbish. To me, it's rubbish, and they sold, you know, and they know that there's something wrong with it, not to give it to small kids or whatever. So that is the next one, is baskets. Make sure you have baskets. The next one I want to talk to you about is making sure you have cheaper or lower budget friendly items, anywhere from 5 to 15 euro, or 6, kind of 5 or 6 euro. If you're only selling items that are 20 euro, 50 or whatever, you're not opening your products up for more people, because there's some people who don't see value in paying that price, or there's people who are maybe on a spending budget, or maybe some people don't even have that much to do that. So when you have more items priced at various price points, it just gives everyone an opportunity to buy from you. So I find personally items under 30 euro sell well at markets in Ireland. So if you can price like most of what you have there under 30, not to undercharge yourself, but only bring items of that value as your stock, let's say. So if you're doing multiples of something, do it of the items that are less than that. Because if you stockpile items that are 50 euro, they're not going to sell, depending on your location. The next tip is mystery items. People love a surprise, and so this is a great way to get people intrigued and interested in buying stuff from you. If you sell earrings or tools, whatever it may be, put them in a bag that you can sell, or a box or whatever that you can sell as a mystery, and maybe include a little freebie with it. It can be a sticker, it can be a discount to their next online order. People love a mystery. The one thing I will say is you have to display it right. So if you're only putting mystery 10 euro, like, some people love a complete mystery, but you won't catch a lot of people that way. You need to have a display sign showing the different types of items that are in there, so that people will have somewhat of an idea, and they're okay, and they're okay with it, and they like what they see. Because let's say you have 5 different types of mysteries. It could be, let's say, a duck, a bear, a squirrel, and they're like, oh, they're all cute, I wouldn't mind that. Then they're happy to buy it, and then there's no like disappointment out of it. Because if you're selling items that, let's say, are for 10 euro, they have no idea, and then they open it and they're like, oh, and then they're walking away feeling a bit disappointed by what they bought. That's terrible. You don't want anyone to feel that way walking away from your stall. So I recommend having signs to show what is in the box, bag, whatever. Another tip is having bags for customers. I know it's a bit of a nuisance because it does cost us, unless you add that cost to the item when you're selling pieces so that you're not paying for it. Bags, like, I think it's a nice touch because it just shows consideration for customers, that you're not expecting them to carry something going around. And with the bags, another tip for you, I also include a little discount or receipt. And what this does is it saves me handing out business cards, which cost more to do rather than the receipt. It gives them a chance to find me again online, so they can search me up and they have a chance to follow me. And also they have the little QR code where they can scan and buy from my shop, and on that receipt they have a little discount on that to encourage them to buy more. These have worked for me. They haven't always worked. Some people might say, oh, it's a bit of a waste or whatever. I find it's been very helpful, because I find when I go to a market and a table, I'm kind of consumed by their products. And unless I'm given like a branded bag, I don't remember a lot of the brands. I'm like, oh, what were they called again? And sometimes they mightn't find you again. So it's important to give them like something in there that they can find you with, basically. So I just pre-print those. Like, if you have a thermal printer, great. It's free ink, basically. You're just paying for the little slips of paper or whatever. So you just kind of have to figure out, is it worth it for you or not? So you could always try it out and see how that goes. I got my QR code 3D printed, and I also have business cards available. I try not to encourage taking business cards because they cost me money, so I leave them there, only a few at a time. And if somebody, says, oh, are you online or whatever, I have been bad to do it, but I'm going to be better and show them the QR code to scan with their phone. My business card, I'm going to show it to you here live, looks like this. Now I'm going to point out my mistakes that I've made, if the camera wants to focus. My mistakes I made is I didn't state what I even do. It says nowhere on that what I do. And that is a mistake. Learn from my mistake when you're doing business cards. Put what you do on it. But I only use these business cards next to my products, so it's very obvious, unless they're taking it away and they've taken multiple other business cards at markets and they're like, oh, who's this again? It's pink, it should stand out, and I'd love to ask customers, have they remembered me, based on this, without having to remember the name. But I put a QR code on the back to scan for my shop, and that's the same QR code I have 3D printed on my stand as well. The next tip I have for you is to take card or multiple different payment types. You would be very surprised of the different payment types people look to pay with. As long as you have card, you should be fine. It's just the way life is now. Like, I personally as well don't carry cash on me. I tap for everything, so having that available to people will give you more sales, basically. If you're not doing it, you're missing out on sales because, like I said, not everyone has cash, and you could say, oh, the ATM is over there. They're not going to go and do that. And I'm like, why are you making me do work to get something from you? So have the option to pay with card available. Okay, so the next one I have for you is to get very clear on your market. Who is your audience? Who are you selling to? So my target market and audience is the general public, which is all the cutesy things or whatever, but I also target crocheters, which is why you're probably watching this, or a lot of you are watching this. I do both, and there's a reason for it that I'm not going into right now because it is a part of my business plan and all that. So I target both, and how I do that is through selling the plushies or whatever. Some of them might want to buy them if they only crochet bags or whatever it might be, but I also sell crochet tools, and that's just a part of what I want to do. I'm not saying you have to do this. It's just knowing your audience and choosing what you're selling toward, like, to them. Maybe you do sell plushies, but they're not for kids, they're actually for adults. And so knowing that and showcasing that through your work is very important. My audience is kids, but also adults. And I do this through a bit of innuendo with my work as well. So I like to do kind of fun, cheeky things that are adult kind of jokes, but kids wouldn't take notice of. So what I mean by that is let's say on the cats, I sew little bums, it's funny. On some of my other pieces, like the frog, I sew little bum cheeks on. My animals on swings, I call them swingers. So it's just a bit of fun, a bit of play, just so that adults feel like they're a part of this too. Because it can get very childlike with my stuff. Yeah, so just knowing your audience is really important. And the reason why it's really important is so that you can sell and appeal to both. So, knowing what people like, what they want. Because I went and did markets last year before I was doing crocheting, and I was selling Christmas themed pieces that were basically my style in Christmas, and I decided to sell what I was making, like that's my style in my home. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I noticed that there were stalls that were a lot busier than me, and it was because they were targeting more people. Okay, so my camera died and I'm filming on my phone, so I just want to finish it off. I feel so much shorter. But yeah, there was other people in other stalls selling more than me, and it was because their stuff was appealing to more people, which is very important. So just making sure that you are thinking like a customer. What would I like to see? Would I actually buy this? Would I actually pay that amount for it? As much as you can. And the last one then is to make larger items. This is to draw people in, get their attention, make a display. When you are setting up, making sure that the big, large display items are put up high out of the way, because if that's the first thing they see and they're wanting to see the price tag on it, that could put them off wanting to look at the rest of your pieces. I mentioned this earlier. So you want your display or eye-catching pieces to up out of the way, because they're just meant to draw people in. Having larger items, if you're just selling smaller pieces, it kind of mightn't draw people in necessarily unless your branding is really strong. But yeah, I definitely recommend having the larger pieces. Like I said, that is this video. Thank you for watching, and if you made it this far in the market tips video, leave me shopping bags in the comments below, and if there's any tips that you would add to this list, that I forgot about, let me know below. Also, I want to let you know that I do have a to-do list for a market. You're prepping the day before and you're like, oh my God, I can't remember what I need to bring. Do I have everything? I have a list below of everything that I go through and make sure I have. So if you want that, it is for free. You can go into the description box below and click on that and it'll give it to you for free. It'll send it over to your email. So that is this video. Make sure you click subscribe if you haven't already. Over half the people that watch me don't click subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps me out. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.